Hi, welcome to the Red to Black podcast. Here, you will learn how to invest in highly profitable private businesses to create abundant financial freedom. If this topic interests you, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. This podcast is hosted by Werner Minchel, ex-Marine aviator and current real estate investor, and Mario Parzino, current Marine infantry officer and business investor.
What is free cash flow margin, and how is it differentiated between EBIT and EBITDA?
Okay, free cash flow margin. This is the mother's milk of a business. Free cash flow enables the business to do three things that we love. We absolutely love free cash flow, and we love businesses that do this. Okay, so one of three things. We got free cash flow. We can go out and buy bolt-on acquisitions. We can go buy other businesses that just bolt right onto our business. Just think about a part going onto a pickup truck. It's just bolt on. You don't have to modify the frame. You don't have to multiply anything. You just simply throw two bolts into it, hook it up, and it's working. Now you got another asset on this truck. It's a bolt-on acquisition. So number one, we love businesses that are generating free cash flow, and they're going out and they're buying other businesses and bolting them onto their business to, again, grow that business, grow and expand. Second thing they can do is pay a dividend. Now they're like, hey, we can't use it. We can't find any good businesses to buy. So we're going to return. Hey, you do something. Maybe you can find something to do smart with this money. So we're going to push it back to you, the investors, in a dividend. And number three, if it's a publicly traded company or even a private company, they can go out and say, hey, do you want to sell us some of our own business back? And we'll destroy those shares. We'll destroy that. So our ownership, those that don't sell, our ownership expands. So one of three things I like to see: free cash flow, tons and tons of free cash flow. I'm drowning in free cash flow. I've got just excess free cash flow. And I'm doing one of three things. I'm bolting on acquisitions, I'm paying back a dividend, or I'm going to destroy other people's ownership in this business. I'm going to make a smaller and smaller amount of people own this business, meaning we get more of the pie. Thoughts on that, Werner?
It's really important because the free cash flow margin is like the blood of your business. If it's flowing plentifully and it's moving fast, then your business is doing well. If it's not flowing fast, it's going to be a challenge for your business because you're always just making just enough money to get by. And we can look, as an example, we always go to the public market. We can look at a lot of recent tech IPOs. If you go down and look at their businesses, the gross margin is phenomenal. What we love to see, about 80%. That's what an Oracle says.
That's right.
It's very efficient. But when they get into SG&A, you can see that they're all competing, sales, general, administrative. They're all competing with each other across that SG&A. And the big one I always see is research and development. They're always improving their app. They're always improving their communications. Whatever it is in the business, they're improving it. Now, the difference between cash flow and EBIT or EBITDA gives us kind of like a snapshot of what the business is producing, but it's designed for the tax statement. The income statement is designed for taxation purposes. The cash flow statement is designed for what's the business actually doing with cash. Because when you go from EBITDA to cash flow, you're taking back in non-cash items from accounting. I know Mario and I are getting a little bit into accounting, but that's the difference. And the cash flow is really telling you, like, at the end of the day, this is the what amount of cash that's going into my account. And when we look at a business like Oracle or the jet ski business, what you see is a small amount of assets produce a lot of cash versus an oil business. A huge amount of assets produce a little amount of cash because it's just those assets are eating up so much cash. By the time you're done with it, you're left with 10%, whereas a jet ski or a database, you're left with 50%. So that's what the free cash flow margin tells you. It tells you how efficient a business is with its assets. It's kind of like invested capital in another form. It's invested capital is telling you what you make back. Free cash flow is kind of telling what the whole business makes back. And you could do free cash flow per your share, which we can do later. But the free cash flow really tells you how efficient is a business at generating cash. That's how I look at it.
That's right. And what kind of margins do we like to see, Werner?
Yeah, 30%. But if we were going to buy our own business, like we said before, we would go down to 20%. because it's not straight line like a stock. We can take the sales and ownership if it's scalable and it can go into multiple different markets. We'll make so much more off that 20% margin business, scaling it up versus maybe a 30% operating margin business that we go in the stock market and we're getting a fixed dividend. And that's another topic we can discuss in a later podcast, but that's the opportunity of a private business. You can actually, I think, you can move that margin down to about 20%. We love 30%,
right.
But we could get down to 20%.
And to add to that, Warner, you can find inefficiencies in that business. Once you're in control, once you're like, okay, we're in charge now, there's lots of inefficiencies in mom and pop business because they're soft. They've gotten comfortable in mom and pop businesses. They get comfortable. I hired my cousin, I hired my nephew, I hired my neighbor's kid. And now we're going in there, we're going getting efficient. And some of the employees are like, dude, I've been waiting for you guys to show up. Yeah, this is inefficient. This is inefficient. Let's change that. Other employees are like, I got to go because I don't belong here with guys that are going to run this thing very efficiently. It was an easy job when mom and pop were running it. When 2 Marines showed up, it became a more difficult job, and I'm out of here. So yeah, so we can go down to 20%, 15%, whatever, as long as we know, we can grow this to 30%. We can get this thing back up to 30% because there's so much inefficiency, or we can expand this thing way past the borders that they're currently working in.
Exactly. And that's the opportunity of invest. What I call doing your own legwork is the opportunity to make more money. Because if you're investing in, let's say you're just a passive investor in another business, you're just putting the money in and getting it back. But when you own your own business, I know this from my own businesses in real estate, there's so many things you can do. So many, like putting a fourplex, an organic garden out front, which was a game changer in the pandemic because people are like looking for spaces with outdoor space that you could grow. So there's so many different advantages and opportunities, like Mario's saying, efficiencies that you can take advantage of when you're doing the legwork yourself. And that's the whole point of this podcast. When you invest in private, high profit businesses, you can reap a lot more than just a passive investor because you're doing the work and looking for the inefficiencies and making it better, improving that margin. And on that point, let's jump to
Thank you for listening to the Red to Black podcast. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to our podcast. If you would like to connect with us in the future, you can find us on LinkedIn. Simply search for Werner Minchel or Mario Parzino. Also, you can find a link to our LinkedIn profiles in the profile section of the podcast. Thank you again for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you in the future.